Today on the Healthful Pursuit Podcast, I started increasing my steps. And when I got to 4,000, oh man, my feet hurt so much. My feet and my knees and my back, it hurts so much. And I thought, this is so dumb. Like, this is the pain I'm just going to have when I walk. I hate this. I hate this so much. I don't want to do this. But something in me was like, no, I know that walking more is great. I know when I go to Disney with my sister and it's like her favorite activity. When I go to Disney with my sister and I'm constantly saying, I got to sit down, like my back hurts. I got to sit down, my feet hurt. I got to sit down, my knees hurt. Like, that's not fun. In my 30s, that's not a fun thing. Hey, my name is Leanne, and I'm fascinated with helping women navigate how to eat, move, and care for their bodies. This has taken me on a journey from vegan, keto, high protein to everything in between. I'm a small town holistic nutritionist turned 3-time international bestselling author turned functional medicine practitioner, offering telemedicine services around the globe to women looking to better their health and stop second guessing themselves. I'm here to teach you how to wade through the wellness noise to get to the good stuff that'll help you achieve your goals. Whether you're seeking relief from chronic ailments, striving for peak performance, or simply eager to live a more vibrant life, this podcast is your go-to resource for actionable advice and inspiration. Together, we'll uncover the interconnectedness of nutrition, movement, sleep, stress management, and mindset, empowering you to make informed choices that support your unique health journey. Think of it as quality time with your bestie mixed with a little med school so you're empowered at your next doctor visit. Get ready to be challenged and encouraged while you learn about your body and how to care for it healthfully. Join me as we embrace vitality, reclaim our innate potential, and discover what it truly means to pursue healthfulness. Hello and welcome back to another episode. I was on a pretty long walk one day and I was starting to think about why is it that so many believe that if we find the perfect diet, the right workout, or the best supplement routine, we'll finally see results. And I started thinking about what the real problem was behind all of this issue of us just seeking out that perfect thing. And the problem is that we never give one plan enough time to actually work. And actually working takes years, not days. And so we mindlessly flit around. And I'm guilty of this too for so many years of just like, oh, maybe I'll try that. Oh, maybe I'll try that. And we don't actually get anywhere. And it is the number one health problem that faces women today is that we are not consistent in what we're doing. This episode is all about why consistency is the most underrated, yes, yet most powerful tool for transformation, and why we're getting stuck, why we're not seeing results. It isn't because your plan is wrong. It's because you haven't stuck to it long enough, because we're just listening to all the podcasts and watching all the videos and getting totally confused on what we should be doing, how long we should be doing it, and what the realistic timeline is to see change. So let's get into it. I have a client, let's call her Betty. And Betty has been trying to lose the same 10 pounds for 20 years. And Betty goes from tracking her food for a little while, and then work gets crazy, and then she stops tracking her food. And when she was tracking, she lost 2 pounds. But now that she's not tracking, she's not eating. And when she's not eating, she's not working out because she's so stressed at work. And then she realizes 5 months later, oh my goodness, the 2 pounds I lost, now I've gained 4. And so now I'll track. And it's this vicious cycle while also spending extra time in bed or between meetings, swiping through Instagram reels. What did I see today? Okay, I saw this woman who calls herself a lazy millionaire or something like this. And the video was about all the things she does in a day to look as good as she looks. And I'm thinking, like, I want to follow people that are out there living their life with the bodies that are capable of doing things, as opposed to being slaves to the practices that require all of themselves, that all they do is focus on keeping themselves healthy, that they have no other thing to do. Like, No thanks. And so we're scrolling through, we're inundated with information of do this cold plunge, then go to sauna, then don't eat carrots because they have too many carbs, and watch out for glyphosate. And there's just so much, and we're trying to do it all and we don't do it well. And so we just kind of do some things at 10% as opposed to one or two things at 90%. And I think the problem here is that we're jumping from plan to plan to plan, likely because we don't realize how long it takes to transform the body. Oh my goodness. I do this. My husband calls me out on it every single time. So he comes home a couple of days ago and I'm like, babe, watch. If I flex my legs like this, my muscles in my legs, look at this. He's like, Leanne, literally 3 days ago, you said you were the fattest, most unhealthiest you've been in years. What's your major malfunction? I'm like, you're right. I did say that 3 days ago, but that was right before I ovulated and I was feeling really puffy. And now I actually feel really good. Like we are, we are up and down. I have a client. Let's call her Sarah. And Sarah told me last week, all my colleagues are saying I look so strong and healthy. This was last week. And then this week, I have never felt so disgustingly fat in my life, right? We do this. I do this. The ebbs and flows. My body changes on a daily basis based on so many factors: how much water I drank, how many electrolytes I had, if I took it easy, if I had a good sleep, how hard I worked out the day before, what I ate, how many carbs versus all those things. So if I'm just comparing how I feel now to what I felt like yesterday, or God forbid, going through my phone and, looking at my pictures from before, like before could be literally a week ago. And so we can have lack of confidence in what we're doing. And that lack of confidence causes us to jump from thing to thing to thing to thing, because we think that if I don't see and feel, I think it's a lot to do with feeling. If I don't feel like this is working, I'm going to give it, and I don't even think we have this thought of like, I'm going to give it a week. A week is too short. I'm going to give it a month. Month is too short. I'm going to give it a couple months, maybe a couple of months. But let me tell you, I know this sounds kind of bold. I'm going to say it. I am doing everything right when it comes to my workouts. Truly. I do not cut sets, reps. I time my rest time. I give it all that I can. All that I can. I track macros. I'm on point with all of that. And I have been amazed at how long it takes to recomp the body, specifically when we're building muscle. And I made this episode a little bit ago. It's episode 515. So last week, we did an episode about the different types of workouts and why it's important to understand the goal of the workouts that you're doing. And many, 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 many women are on an endurance workout program, but expecting hypertrophy results. And so, of course, you're going from program to program to program, all endurance based, because we don't know the difference and we're not getting the results, and we keep switching it up and we're moving from plan to plan to plan. And social media makes it feel like people get results overnight. I've seen crazy stuff, crazy. People are like, 2 weeks. There's no way you gained 5 pounds of muscle in 2 weeks. That ain't right. And the fitness and wellness industry, this industry included, profits off of making women feel like they need the next best thing. Like that individual, the millionaire lady. I was thinking about this when I was cleaning today. I've gotten to a point with my health that I am in a capable body with a capable mind. I want to use that body to have experiences that I couldn't have done 10 years ago. I want to use this body to walk far distances and camp and sleep on the ground and go on adventures and all of those things that I could not physically do 10 years ago. I want to do those things with this body. I don't want to be sitting at home with a red light on my face late for my 10 a.m. massage and then 12 p.m. Pilates, and just consumed by the consumption of wellness activities. And when we connect with a new influencer, we see what they're doing. We want the things that they have. We want to look the way that they look, feel the way that they feel. And so we ditch what we were doing previously because we didn't have any real confidence in what we were doing previously, and we go to the next thing. And then we meet somebody else and we go to the next thing, and we chat with a practitioner and we go to that next thing. And it's this vicious cycle of not being consistent enough. Like consistency is the most important thing. Like that's it. That's all. And consistency is achieved by having the confidence in what you're doing. If you don't know why you're avoiding glyphosate, you're going to eat glyphosate. If you don't know why you're working out, if you don't know what the goal of the workout is, like, okay, so one thing I've loved about my endurance program, and I didn't expect to have this result, is that my glutes are getting huge. And now I'm motivated by working out like this and eating more so that my glutes get bigger. And so now every time I work out, I'm like, my glutes are going to be huge. And not necessarily because big glutes are in right now. I mean, sure they are, but I really could care less. I read a study that individuals over the age of 75 who have falls that result in a broken hip, 100% of them didn't have proper glute strength. 100%. Like if you fall over the age of 75 and your glutes are not strong, you will break a hip. So mama's got to get big glutes, because I got like a couple of years here. Well, more like 40 years to really work on those glutes to make them real strong. And Lord willing, I will get to that age. And if I fall, I won't have to be in the hospital for a very long time fixing my hips. Between work, family, and life's demands, staying focused can feel impossible. Focused by Make Wellness can help you take back control. This unique blend of bioactive precision peptides and nootropic ingredients is designed for women in their 40s who want to stay sharp and clear-headed. Bacopa Maniri supports memory and learning, while phosphatidylserine helps maintain neurotransmitter balance for mood regulation and alertness. And let's talk about Lutamax Brain. This ingredient is a game changer. It reduces brain fatigue and even helps with eye strain from all that blue light that we're exposed to daily. Whether you're fighting brain fog or staying on top of your to-do list or simply trying to feel yourself again, Focused is here to help. Start your journey to better focus at healthfulpursuit.com/focus. That's HEALTHFULPURSUIT.com/FOCUS. Subscribe today and enjoy 20% off every order after your third shipment. That's healthfulpursuit.com/focus. And so when we have that confidence in what we're doing, when we know why, let's make an example, why we're eating 80 grams of fat, why we're eating 200 grams of carbs, why our protein goal is X, why we're waking up at 7 a.m., why we're taking antiparasitics, the why builds that confidence. If you don't know why you're taking your probiotic when, Sally, the influencer, says, oh, you really need my probiotic because my probiotic does X, Y, and Z. Well, you're like, well, screw this probiotic I'm going over here. When we have the confidence in the things that we're doing, we're able to be consistent long-term because we know our goals, we know where we're headed, and everything else is just noise. If I jump on Instagram and somebody's going off about, I don't know, check out this jump rope program and in 2 weeks you can have chiseled abs on this jump rope program. I'm like, okay, well, my goal right now is to insert. For me, it's hike Patagonia. Hopefully when this airs, I will actually be in Patagonia hiking. Lord willing. Oh boy, it has been a long road. Can't wait to share all the things. Hopefully when I come back. I'm recording this before I leave, so hopefully I'm there doing it. But so when I see this lady jump roping saying, you can have 6-pack abs in 2 weeks, Okay, well, my goal right now is to hike Patagonia, not to jump rope Patagonia, not to have six-pack abs to do Patagonia. So I think I'm going to sit this one out. Easy as that. Like, it's a great tool for some people. Ain't for me. I got a goal. This doesn't align with the goal. Next. It's that simple. But the problem that I see as a coach and the women that I work with, and I love my client. I love my clients. If I could like take on more and do more, I would just love that because they are confident, because we build that confidence in them. They know why they're doing, what the goal is, where we're headed. And I tell every single one of them, like, this is going to be a process. We're not going to figure this out in a couple of weeks. It's going to take consistency and confidence in the plan and just getting it done day in and day out. There's going to be days that you don't want to do it. There's going to be days that you just don't do it. And we're just going to keep on trucking on. We don't give our bodies enough time to adapt. And when we switch our strategy, our entire process, because we're not rooted in a goal, then we're starting back at zero and not making progress and going over and over and over again the same issue. I don't remember whether it was Betty or Sally or Sarah or whomever I was talking about earlier, but the most common pattern that I see is life gets busy, everything falls apart, and we start again. Then life gets busy, everything falls apart, and we start again. But then we layer in these extra things. Like, I've spoken to so many people, and we connect, we do the things, we get the goals, we're good to go. Life gets busy. It takes months, we get back to it. And in that time, they've added all these sorts of things that have nothing to do with the goal that we set, have nothing to do with their goals that they want to achieve. But it's all just busy work because we're trying to find that thing that's going to change the game. That thing that's going to change the game is having confidence, setting goals, and being consistent. Time and time and time again. Of course, you're allowed to change your goal. Spoiler alert. Right now, I did a really long walk yesterday in preparation for Patagonia. I'm days out from leaving, and I experienced excruciating pain on like hour 9 of my walk. This is not an uncommon thing for me now to walk this crazy distance and time, but this was a different pain. And my physical therapist said, you should go get imaging just to make sure that you don't have a stress fracture, because if you do, that's not going to be good. And as I was driving to get the imaging, I'm like, oh, man, I've trained for 6 months for this. And if I have a stress fracture, I won't be going to Patagonia. So my goals got to change. My entire format's got to change. Like, I no longer have to do endurance training. I don't have to ever walk that long ever again. I know I can. That's so cool. It's so cool how capable my body is. And all of my nutrition and just everything leading up to this point has gotten me to this goal. That's incredible. I've worked very hard for this. And I thought, okay, well, now my goals got to shift. Now my structure's got to shift, and I'm going to shift to a different goal, which will probably be to build like substantial amount of muscle again, because I really love that goal. And so those are the times when we purposely sit down and we're like, okay, my goal needs to shift, or, okay, I've been doing this plan. I'm not feeling great in this. Let's be strategic in switching out one thing to kind of see how I respond to that stimuli. Like, let's just say you have a goal of going to Canada, going to Lake Louise in Canada and swimming in the glacier water. You're like, I can't just go there and swim in it. It's freezing. So you decide you're going to start doing cold plunges and get yourself used to the cold. Let's say you're 3 weeks into it and your nervous system has a complete breakdown, and your chiropractor is like, hey, I think this might be a stretch. So then you got to reassess the goal. It's okay. I mean, I did have this goal once. It was crazy, and I actually achieved it. And then I had a total nervous system breakdown. But yeah, I think the number one issue that I see and have seen, I mean, I've been in the health and wellness industry before it was cool. The year was 2007. And I remember my very first client, I can't recall her name, but I went to her house and we were chatting, and it was this same problem. She was really, really good for a while, then got distracted, added in a whole bunch of other things, like got overwhelmed, didn't do any of it, reset. Did the same thing over and over and over. It has not changed. Is that 18 years? In 18 years, it is exactly the same. It is the exact same problem. And I think even made worse because we have so many videos, so many podcasts, and so much content online that it is so overwhelming. And I want you to watch your Instagram or TikTok or whatever and just be like, cool, that's great for them. But I feel solid in my plan. I know what my goal is. I'm going to be consistent, and that's all. And you could just watch this stuff as entertainment of things that other people do, but it doesn't mean that you have to do them. Oftentimes we feel like our results are delayed. And the problem is that we just haven't stayed in one place long enough to let the changes show. Like, we live in such a fast-paced world that a huge lesson that God has taught me over this last year of, oh man, this season of life has been so hard. Nothing is moving and everything is stagnant. And then I realized, like, what determines stagnancy and how quick things should move? We're so used to just now, like Amazon. I needed some arnica cream for my busted up leg, and I ordered it on Amazon and it came 3 hours later. Like, this is the standard. And this is not normal. Our results aren't delayed. We just haven't stayed here long enough to realize the shifts. And sure, if you've been on a workout program for a while and you're noticing no changes, and in your gut, you're like, this doesn't seem right. That's different. That is totally different. But if you know the goal, if you feel confident in the program that has been provided to you, then you just do it. And you just do it over and over and over and over and over and over again. And when you don't want to do it, you do it anyways. And then when you don't want to do it again, you just do it anyways. There's this emotional roller coaster that happens with inconsistency. And I think dopamine is part of this because we get excited when we start something new. Like, when we find that program, we print off the things, we go to the grocery store, we get it all loaded up. There's this, yes, I figured it out. Now is the time. And when we don't see quick results, we panic. We assume it's not working. We quit before anything can really have a time to change. And then we start something new and repeat the cycle to chase after that new feeling. Like, yes, I got it. No, we don't got it. We don't got it. Like, if I think back, it has been 2 years and a couple of weeks since I decided to start going to the gym and lifting heavy things and all the stuff. And I think back to my initial squats, like my very initial squats. I have a couple of videos of my very first squat in my entire life. It's terrible. And I was doing a squat the other day, and, I had for me, at a substantial amount of weight on the bar. I'm really, really tall, so my squats will probably always suck. And I'm consistently putting 245 plates on either side, which is huge progress in 2 years from just a dowel, because I couldn't even hold the 45-pound bar. Okay, just a dowel, and could go down about 3 inches. Like, that is huge progress. But that's 2 years and 3 weeks. 2 years and 3 weeks. And my hip thrusts, I mean, they haven't changed much. My back has a really hard time just letting it go and letting the glutes take over, slowly but surely working on that. Like, I can see progress. The fact that last week I walked 90 miles in a week. I remember this vividly. About 2.5 years ago, I decided to start tracking my steps. I thought for sure I was getting 10,000 steps a day. Turns out I was getting about 2,000. Yeah. So that was a rude awakening. And I started increasing my steps. And when I got to 4,000, oh man, my feet hurt so much. My feet and my knees and my back, it hurt so much. And I thought, this is so dumb. Like, this is the pain I'm just going to have when I walk. I hate this. I hate this so much. I don't want to do this. But something in me was like, no, I know that walking more is great. I know when I go to Disney with my sister and it's like her favorite activity. When I go to Disney with my sister and I'm constantly saying, I got to sit down, like my back hurts. I got to sit down. My feet hurt. I got to sit down. My knees hurt. Like, that's not fun. In my 30s, that's not a fun thing. And so I knew that if I just was consistent, I could get there. And how, like yesterday, I walked, what was my top? I think 78,000 steps in one day. Pardon me. That's taken me 2.5 years. 2.5 years, not months, not even a year, 2.5 years. And I'm not saying that you need to walk 78,000 steps like a psychopath. Like I'm training for a specific goal to walk that distance in the forest. And that's a goal that I'm working toward. But what I'm saying is like, I didn't get there overnight. So a mediocre plan done consistently will outperform the perfect plan done inconsistently. So if you're like, I don't really like my program, I'm going to try something else. You're probably just switching one mediocre plan for another. Just be consistent with the one thing and know that your body just needs time to adapt. Like fat loss, muscle building, metabolic changes, they don't happen in 2 weeks. I was actually looking at I don't recommend doing this because you can really get in your head, especially when your goal is muscle building without cutting fat. I did a fat cutting situation for a while and lost a good amount of weight, but with my height, like I'm 5'10", and I just kind of look like a skeleton walking when I lose weight. I don't like the way that I look. Sure, I like the way that I feel. I don't like the way that I look. And so when I look at pictures from before I started working out to now, there's not a significant change because I'm not losing fat. And so I know that there's muscle there. I've proven that when I'm in the gym, or the other day I was walking and I tripped on the curb. It was a bad trip. It was like the type of trip where you lose your 2 front teeth and break your nose. Like it was about to be bad. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, my left leg goes into a deep lunge and catches my torso, which was about to hit the ground. And I balanced on one leg, on my left leg, my non-dominant leg, in this lunge with my right foot up in the air. Like it was a bad trip, and recovered on one leg. Okay, no way I could have done that 2 years ago. No way. Muscle growth takes time. You're going to gain about 0.25 pounds of muscle per month. Okay, that's 6 pounds a year. That's like half a bag of potatoes. That's very small. And so I like to think of it like planting a seed. What's a seed that takes forever to grow? I don't even know. I'm not into gardening. It's not my thing. I don't like gardening. But if you plant a seed and it takes let's say, tulips. I know that when you plant tulips, you do it in the fall and you don't see anything until spring, and it takes forever, right? You wouldn't go out of your house in January and start digging up the tulip buds to see what's going on. Absolutely not. You'd be like, I planted those. I'm confident in the strategy that I used. I watched all the YouTube videos. I did all the right steps. I know my goal. I feel confident in how I performed. Now I got to wait. That's what we do, right? I mean, that's what you might do for gardening. I do not. I'm looking at a vase of dead flowers that my husband gave me. I can't even keep the beautiful bouquets alive for very long. They just die. We see a lot of before and after photos with crazy results. And let's say the results are real. I think a lot of them are fake for sure. But the ones that are real, when I comment on them and I say how long did it take? Almost everyone says crazy stuff like 6 years, 9 years, 7 years, 5 years. We need to put in the work daily, even when we don't feel like it. There have been multiple days where I'm getting in the car and I'm like, I'll go. No, I won't. And I'll walk in the house. And then, no, I'll go. I'll get back in my car and I'll start my car. I'll be driving and I'll turn off on a side street 6 times before I get to the gym. And then I'll park there and try to call my mom and my sister and my friend and my husband, try to distract me. Is there anything going on? Do you need my help with anything? I do this. And then I pull myself out of my car and get to the gym. There are times that I don't want to do it. And I'm just using a gym as an example because it's what I'm really in right now. It could be anything. Taking your supplements, whatever your goal is, we need to be consistent with it. And when it comes to consistency, there are a couple of adaptations that take place. So let's talk about the neural adaptation first. So your brain and body need repetition to make habits feel natural. So, I mean, I've gotten to the point, even on rest day. So, Sunday is my rest. It is a full sloth day. It feels so weird. I'm just like, but do I need to go to the gym? Should I go for a walk? Like, oh, right, it's Sunday. I don't do that. But it's just such a habit now that it feels just natural that I would do that. Same with food, like preparing food. I eat at 7 a.m., 11 a.m., 3 p.m., and 7 p.m. That's what I do. That is what I do. It's just a non-negotiable. Sometimes I'll have a snack between that 11 and 3. I can feel my tummy grumbling right now because it's rest day and I am significantly hungry on rest day. And so it's become this habit that I know. I go into the kitchen, I make up something super fast because I cannot spend more than 10 minutes on a meal ever. And then I eat it. And that's just a habit that I have. I don't like order out or decide to go no, I just make it real quick, and that's just a habit. And the more you repeat something, the easier it becomes. So there's also this neural adaptation time when you're on a new plan or a new program, or you have this new goal and it's hard and you don't want to do it. And then you think, oh, okay, well, this isn't working because it's hard. No. Mm-mm. Some of the coolest things that I've accomplished have been the most hard. And they've also been the most fruitful. Like I'm kind of at this phase now as I prepare for Chile and Argentina. I've never been to South America. When I prepared for my Azores trip and even my Italy trip last year, I make up all these excuses about why I can't go. Like, oh, it's money and this and that and the other, blah, 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 because I'm fearful. I'm scared. It's a new environment, something new and different language. But I have past experiences that have told me it's fine. I know how to travel. I'm fully prepared. So why am I scared? It's not a habitual thing. And it hasn't been repeated enough for me to really get comfortable. And it probably never will be. If you have one event every year or like 2 events every year, it's never really going to feel habitual. And so every time you do something like that, that's working towards achieving a goal, it's going to feel not really comfortable. There's also a metabolic adaptation process where you don't see physical results right away, but your metabolism is adjusting behind the scenes. And this is why I love blood work, because you can see, like, I have kind of gotten out of the process of checking my blood work. I think the last time I did it was like October of 2024. And I was going to do it before I left, but I thought that if I saw anything in the blood work that I felt was concerning, I would use it as an excuse to not go to South America. This is what I mean. Like, I have to know myself enough to be like, nope, not going to do that. Like with the potential stress fracture, I'm like, not the worst thing. Don't want to go. But I know that I do. And I know it's going to grow me. And I know it's going to challenge me. And I know it's just going to be incredible. But when it comes to shifts that we make, our cells never lie. Our cells will always tell us what's up. Always. And so there's often this metabolic adaptation where so much is changing on the inside, but because we don't see it, we're quicker to ditch it. Many of my clients who have struggled with weight their entire lives, this is so challenging for them because they've been told that they need to be in smaller bodies immediately. A sweet client comes to mind. She came to me a couple of years ago, and her doctor had basically said, like, you need to get a handle on your health. All your numbers, like liver, cholesterol, just everything is a mess. Your glucose is a mess. Like, I'm giving you 6 weeks to change things up. And let me tell you, we were absolutely committed for those 6 weeks. We got it done. When she did her blood work again, it was like a new person. But then she had achieved the goal, and that was enough. And then it just kind of like fell apart. And that happens a lot where we don't give ourselves the space, or I think that there's a piece of not believing that we can achieve more, and a fear that life will change so much that it will be weird for us. Like, I know that I have that for some of my like trips and stuff. Like I said, sometimes I'll try to get out of them or feel like, will it really change? Like, am I really ready for this? Can I really handle this? In my experience, I've seen a lot of women struggle with that, of like, They're faced with, wow, this is actually working. And if I head down this path, life is going to be very different and demand certain things of me that I don't think that I'm ready for. And so we might not make a conscious choice, but it has been chosen that we would rather stay where we are than push into the boundary of something that's new and different and scary. I do that very often. And I think it's funny. My mom on the phone the other day when I was telling her about the saga that is preparing for South America, she's like, have you gotten to the point where like maybe you realize that God is telling you not to go? I'm like, absolutely not. This is life. Like things happen. This has nothing to do with God telling me I shouldn't go. Like if I'm not meant to go, I won't go. Like if this stress fracture is actually a thing, then I'm not going. And then there you go. Or, if the plane has issues or I miss my track, like my plane's delayed or whatever, then I'm not going. But we owe it to ourselves. When we've committed to something, like if a doctor says you have 6 weeks to clean up your life and you work really hard for 6 weeks, your blood work changes, let's keep going. Because you didn't get here in 6 weeks. Like you didn't get to this gnarly place 12 weeks ago. Like it's not like this started 12 weeks ago. We cleaned you up. Now you're good to go for life. Absolutely not. This is years of not being consistent in activities that aren't fulfilling for you. Like it's crazy when I think of my priorities and what's important to me, how often the day-to-day things that I do have nothing to do with the priorities that I've set. My priorities, God, my husband, my family, my dog, right? But they're like, I scrolled on Instagram for an hour today. How does that align with any of those 4 goals? Well, it doesn't. So I think we spend a lot of time on the things that aren't healthy for us, and we use it as a way to not focus on the things we know are best for us, but are scary if we were to achieve them. I think that there's a really good way of looking at this when it comes to consistency and adaptation. Give yourself 90 days and make like a little note, like at the beginning. This is why I track all my programs. Whenever I start a new lifting program, I put in all the weights that I used initially. And in 90 days after that program is done, I look back at the initial workout and I see what weights, what reps, what sets I was doing. And I'm like, wow, I see progress. Or if I have a body recomp goal, I'll take a picture, I'll take measurements, I'll get a body scan at the beginning. And then after 90 days, I'll do the exact same thing and I'll check progress. Measurable progress is the best way to determine whether or not something is working. Blood work, another great way. Just in that example with that client, you test the blood work, give it some time, check again. Okay, we're on the right track. Let's keep going. So when it comes to strength training, in the first 4 to 6 weeks, you're mostly going to see neurological adaptations, like learning the movements, getting it right, all those things. By 12 weeks, you might see real muscle changes. Like you're going to see changes in strength and boosting up your ability to lift. Maybe you were doing a 25-pound dumbbell. Now you're up to a 27.5 or even 30-pound dumbbell. For fat loss, it takes time for the body to become more metabolically efficient, especially if there's insulin issues. And so with fat loss, especially if you're working out, you might not see much change on the scale. So body composition testing can be helpful, like DEXA, or doing your inches can be helpful. And even sleep and hormone changes, like the consistency in bedtime, stress management, diet, cycle, headaches versus not, like symptoms are awesome. For every client, every couple of months, we do a root cause analysis, which is basically a whole bunch of questions I ask them, and then I grade them based on their score so we can see their total score and if it's up or down. So let's say when they started with me, their total score was 300, meaning they have 300 points towards symptoms. Ideally, I wanted 0. But if the next session I see them, it's 250, and the next session I see them, it's 175, and the next session I see them is 125, whoa, we've gone from 300 symptoms, like a score, to 125. You are feeling better. And if they tell me I'm not feeling better, well, you might have prioritized your feeling. Like, let's say your top priority is sleep and your sleep hasn't changed much, but like everything else has changed. That's progress. But we I'm so guilty of this. We only focus on the things that aren't moving and are terrible. I am so bad at this. Like Kevin calls me out on this all the time. All the time. My sister's getting married this year to my amazing brother-in-law who I've known for almost as long as I've known my husband, actually. Like maybe a week less than I've known my husband. I consider him my brother. They're getting married, and my sister wanted to do a bachelorette at Disney. And so much planning has gone into this. She just kind of gave all the plans to her best friend and I to kind of manage, which is great. I love it. Hands off, and we can just do what we know she'll love. And we ended up booking this experience for her at Disney. And I called my husband. We've been working on this for months, just trying to get it all figured out. And I called my husband. I'm like, we booked the Disney thing and this is how much it costs. And I hope that blah, blah, blah. And Kevin's like, are you kidding me right now? You've been working on this for months. Can you just say, woohoo, we booked the Disney thing, period. That's incredible. Like, why does it have to be then all this negative stuff? I'm like, I don't know. There's something wrong with me. Yeah, it's a lack of satisfaction. It's a lack of contentment. And that ain't good. And that will drive us to make terrible life decisions. Not like if your pattern is to jump from thing to thing to thing because you think your health will be better, it's probably that you do this in life with everything and just don't realize. And I know this especially came true when I became a Christian, when I heard the gospel for the first time and started assessing my life and seeing like patterns of sin in my life, just where I was so dissatisfied. And that dissatisfaction makes us make really bad choices. Super not great. Want all the benefits of bone broth without the hassle of simmering bones for hours? Now you can have it in seconds. Paleo Valley's new savory original grass-fed bone broth protein is a rich collagen-packed way to nourish your body with ease. It's made from 100% grass-fed pasture-raised beef bones, not hides, so you get the full spectrum of amino acids that support skin, joints, digestion, and metabolism. Just mix a scoop with hot water for a warm, comforting broth, or use it to elevate soups, sauces, and even casseroles. It's a simple way to support your health without processed ingredients or artificial flavors. One serving gives you 15 grams of collagen protein, 3.4 grams of glycine, and the same gut healing benefits as homemade bone broth, all in a form that mixes instantly and tastes incredible. Visit paleovalley.com/Leanne to save 20% and try it risk-free for 60 days. That's paleovalley.com/Leanne. I think the most common I'm stuck mistakes, I want to kind of go through them so you can kind of see like what I see on a day-to-day basis. Mistake number 1 is not tracking anything. Oh, I see this a lot. I like to think of food tracking as the same as sleep tracking, period tracking. Like if your goal is to change your body, but you don't know how much fuel is going in there, how often, how are you going to measure that? So if you think nothing is happening, but you're not actually measuring your progress, then we need to track. So tracking, like if your goal is strength, track your workouts, track what weights you're using week over week so you can see the increase in your strength. If you're tracking energy, I would suggest getting an Aura ring or a Whoop band or something to track your readiness and your HRV. Digestion, definitely track on a daily basis how much, how many bowel movements you're having, when you have bloating and gassiness or whatever, and you can track that on a weekly basis. Like, here's my score on this day and my score on this day. Wow, the score is going down. Otherwise, you're just saying, nah, it all sucks. It all sucks. It's all terrible. I need something new. Sleep, same thing. I love my Aura for sleep. It has been so fun to see and start to measure that and track it. So I actually know if I'm having good or bad sleep, not just me saying, it's all terrible. Mistake number 2 is letting motivation decide your actions. Motivation is absolutely fleeting. So waiting until you quote unquote feel like it means you'll never be consistent. Never be consistent. Oh man. Yeah, no, you cannot wait until you feel good. So you need to build discipline. You need to build grit and show up whether you feel like it or not. I always feel a little bit insensitive when I say that, like, suck it up, let's get it done. But that's exactly what it is. Like, if you have confidence in your plan, you know that if you do this, it achieves the thing you want. What are you doing? Just sitting around not doing it. Like, get it done. Just get it done. Like, I mean, I do it too. I'm not saying I'm better than you. I have it all figured out. Absolutely not. Yesterday was easier. The day before, I went on, I had programmed a 6-hour walk and I was dreading it. I didn't want to do it. And I woke up and I was twiddling about my house, avoiding it. And I was like, okay, before you even have time to think, literally get on your shoes and leave. I wasn't even wearing all my gear. I was like, just get out, start walking. It's not like you can't come back and get the rest of your stuff. Just get out, start walking, come back in 30 minutes, get the rest of your stuff and go. And I never did come back. I just kept going. I think another mistake that we make is making decisions based on our emotions at the time and not data. Like, I feel bloated today. My diet must not be working. No, we need to stick to objective tracking, looking at results over 3-month chunks, not a daily fluctuation. Like I said, if you're still menstruating, man, no, you cannot use how you feel as a guide because depending if you're ovulating or menstruating, it's all going to be different. I feel like $1 million right after my period stops. Like, more like cycle day 4. Like, I'm still bleeding, but oh man, I could run a marathon. I feel so good until about day 12. And then it just all kind of feels worse as time goes on until I get my period again. And so if you ask me how I'm feeling on day 5 versus day 26, it's going to be completely different. Another mistake is expecting linear progress. So that would be like jumping on the scale and always seeing it down every single day. And when you see it go up, you totally freak out and you're like, this plan is not working. We need to look at more of a trend. We want to see slight changes over time because progress is going to come in waves. And we need to learn to trust that process and trust the process and have confidence in the process. And wow, I fully thought that this podcast episode would only be like 30 minutes and I still have like half of my talking points. So we're going to cut it off today and we'll pick up maybe next month because I have a whole bunch of other ideas as it relates to this. I have a lot of time to think about these things while I'm on my ridiculously long walks. And consistency really is the thief of progress. So I hope you enjoyed today. And I'll see you back here for another episode. If you don't already follow me on Instagram, you can do that at Leanne Vogel or hit me up on healthfulpursuit.com/contact. I'd love to hear from you, hear where you're listening from, what's going on in your life. It always helps me know what podcast episodes to program. So we'll see you back here next week. Bye. Thanks for listening to the Healthful Pursuit Podcast. Join us next Tuesday for another episode of the show. If you're looking for free resources, there are a couple of places you can go. The first to my blog, healthfulpursuit.com, where you're going to find loads of recipes. The second is a free parasite protocol that I've put together for you that outlines symptoms, testing, and resources to determine whether or not you have a parasite, plus a full protocol to follow to eradicate them from your life if you need to. That's available at healthfulpursuit.com/parasites. And last but certainly not least, a full list of blood work markers to ask your doctor for so that you can get a full picture of your health. You can grab that free resource by going to healthfulpursuit.com/labs. The Healthful Pursuit Podcast, including show notes and links, provides information in respect to healthy living, recipes, nutrition, and diet, and is intended for informational purposes only. The information provided is not a substitute for medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment, nor is it to be construed as such. We cannot guarantee that the information provided on the Healthful Pursuit Podcast reflects the most up-to-date medical research. Information is provided without any representation or warranties of any kind. Please consult a qualified health practitioner with any questions you may have regarding your health and nutrition program.